Hey guys, welcome back to my series rewriting Tears of the Kingdom, as a story and as a game. We have a bit of stuff to go over today, so if you haven't watched the first episode, please give it a look so you know what the heck I'm talking about. You up to speed? Good. Now let's dive right in. Once out of the caves they found themselves in, Zelda quickly takes the Sheikah Slate from Link, confirming her fears. It is not working, meaning they have lost all the tools it provided them. At a loss regarding their whereabouts, or rather, whenabouts, Link and Zelda descend from the Great Plateau, which is surrounded by large stone stairways. As they do, Zelda proposes they should move towards Hyrule Castle, seen in the distance, with her concluding it's the place where they are most likely to encounter help. While the player will be able to roam freely to an extent, Zelda will intervene if they depart too far from the way to the castle, insisting on the need to get there. As they walk through Hyrule Field, Link and Zelda will be attacked by enemies unlike those of their time. There are moblins, much stockier and shorter than those they knew, as well as huge peahats, spider-like tektites, and souls, similar to chuchus, but they will separate into smaller blobs when struck. Zelda will hide whenever these enemies appear, warning Link of upcoming attacks and, when possible, distracting enemies by throwing rocks at them. As for Link, should the player already have a Breath of the Wild save file, his number of hearts and stamina will be equal to that in the save file. Otherwise, this section will act as the tutorial area, with Zelda providing tips and advice, as well as having much weaker enemies. Eventually, the two will enter Hyrule Castle town's walls, finding a bustling town, although much smaller than that they once knew. They will receive weird looks from the inhabitants, but will be able to talk to them anyways, getting info on some minor details and buying food and equipment in the local stores. Inside the castle, they will be led by the guards to the throne room, where they will meet an old man clad in orange robes. He will introduce himself as Roru. Upon hearing their names, Roru will seem amused, telling them these same names once belonged to two legendary figures in their land, figures from before the Kingdom of Hyrule was founded. Zelda, in turn, claims to recognize him from the ancient ruins speaking of the imprisoning war, leading to him becoming uneasy. After all, he will say, such a war has not taken place. When they explained what happened to them, Roru thinks and concludes it may be related to the regional phenomena taking place across Hyrule, and promises to get his people to research it as soon as possible. Zelda wishes to participate, and so Roru gives Link and Zelda a map with the locations of the four phenomena: Mount Taran, in which many merchants and travelers have disappeared; Typhlo Ruins, from which a barrage of mechanical constructs have sprung; the Akala Fortress, which has been covered by a giant storm; and Spectacle Rock, which has become the origin point of terrible earthquakes. Hearing this, Link immediately prepares to leave, already imagining what will await in such locations. Zelda thanks Roru, and they both leave to search for the Sheikah research teams present in those locations, hoping to find answers to their riddle. While the regional phenomena can be explored in any order, we will begin with Spectacle Rock for no reason whatsoever. Link and Zelda can leave Hyrule Castle and make their way south, towards the Gerudo region. Once there, they meet Roru's team headed by a man named Tauro, outside the entrance to a massive cave that has opened as a result of the constant earthquakes. He will explain the situation to Link, including the fact that many of his team have gone in and not returned. All the while, Zelda will talk to the other researchers. When the two meet again, Zelda will tell Link that the other researchers have devices similar to the slate, although more primitive, and decides to stay behind to work with them. Despite his hesitation in leaving Zelda again, Link will make his way alone into the depths of the Rocky Mountains. His way, however, will quickly be stopped by a massive underground river, which Link will need to traverse using whatever materials he has at hand, like this conveniently discarded raft, all the while repelling the attacks of aquatic Octoroks and Keys. Eventually, Link will reach solid ground once again, finding himself in an ancient cave system, full of intricate tunnels. Worst of all, many of these are closed off with large boulders that require bombs or hammers to be broken down, both present but in very limited quantities at the maze itself, and Link may also find gates that require special keys to be opened. Large gaps on the floor will hinder Link's progress, taking him down to lower levels from where he is unable to climb back up without backtracking. A hard task, but nothing a map left by one of the previous researchers cannot help with. Eventually, Link will make his way to a sealed room at the bottom of the cave system, which contains the dungeon's miniboss, the Stone Armos. This large stone monster is composed of rocks and boulders that protect its fragile core. What it lacks in speed is more than offset by its sheer defensive power, so Link must use bombs, hammers and clubs to break away its armor. Once Link has managed to destroy enough of it to see the shining crystal core of the Armos, he will be able to deal with it easily with simple sword strikes. When the Armos is finally defeated, Link will gain access to the Cape of Ascension, this dungeon's item. This cape allows Link to jump up to and through any ceiling, provided there is appropriate space to surface above. With this item in his hands, Link will be able to return to the top of the caves, using a combination of the cape and holes in the ground to travel in between floors, surveying the surrounding area in order to see where he can emerge in order to keep advancing. It should be noted, the ceiling above the dungeon is full of stalagmites, preventing Link from escaping. He will only be able to use his new item in the rest of the ceilings, which were carved in the stone itself. Eventually, Link will find the dungeon's boss key, and the large gate it opens. Inside this large chamber, Link will be confronted by the Titan Talos, an enormous monster larger than any Talos seen in the overworld. Fortunately, it seems to be immobile at the moment, but the same cannot be said about its inhabitants. All across its body are large ore deposits and platforms, guarded by moblins and bokoblins. Link must climb or use the Cape of Ascension to reach 3 of the ore deposits and destroy them by any means necessary. After having destroyed them, the Titan Talos will emerge from the ground, using its massive arms to strike at Link. Link's objective is still the same, destroying the ore deposits, but this time he will have to hide behind stone pillars to avoid detection by the Talos and the creatures living on it, as many as there may remain. Every time an ore deposit is broken, the Talos will drop down, and some platforms and creatures will shake off from it. This will make things harder for Link, as there will be less walking space on the Talos and more creatures hunting him at ground level. Once the third ore deposit is destroyed, the Titan Talos will fall dead, giving Link a heart container as a reward, and also breaking open the walls of the cave system and letting Link out. Once free, Link can return to Zelda's side, where he will be informed that a signal that was being captured by the research team Slate stopped the moment the cave's wall collapsed. It seems it was not tied to the tremors themselves. Instead, it was a constant signal directed towards Hyrule Castle's general vicinity. And, it seems, a very similar signal originated from the Great Plateau, from the very same point where they entered this time. It's not much for the moment, so Link, Zelda and Roru's team will have to keep researching and see what they can find out. You still here? Huh, cool! So let's talk about the Varuda in the room. I feel Tears of the Kingdom had a perfect opportunity to integrate more of the classic dungeons into its gameplay. And while the dungeons we had were something, with this rewrite I wanted to bring some more of that old classic Zelda formula into this new world. Just because you base your gameplay around player freedom and creativity, it doesn't mean you can't put limitations to test the reach of that freedom and creativity. Hence why I turned the Ascension Rune into a more classic Zelda item. very useful now that Zelda needs to take the slate away from Link. And of course this will be the basis for following dungeons in our series. Also, this time I wanted to have a go at explaining part of the world Link and Zelda found themselves in, as part of my mission statement is welding the world of Breath of the Wild and its alleged sequel with the rest of the Zelda series and its timeline. Yes, the timeline is canon, Nintendo said it. One important thing to note here is whatever Zelda and company are looking into will be cumulatively revealed as the player beats more dungeons, as well as why the world they found themselves in is the way it is. Because, crazy person than I am, I feel a story should have a sense of progression. So with that, I hope you liked the video. I'm out. Bye!